Hi friends, Sarah, the owner and maker behind Multifarious Nature. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're a new viewer, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, big welcome back. I'm glad you guys are here for another episode, and bear with me as I am still recovering from being sick. We are at the end of week 3, so getting closer, ever closer. Still a little congested, so apologize. I'm gonna have to clear my throat a little. Drinking some little really good strawberry lemonade, like electrolyte mix. So trying to keep self hydrated. I am wearing my, let's see, what's the name of this one? I think it's the Wildflower Path. I think it's one of Melanie Hoffman's designs. I love her patterns. It's using Nutiden, this beautiful oatmeal color. It actually has a different name, but I can't think of the name at the moment. And I didn't do the floral motif that's around it. I just did the really neat textured stitch, which I love. The other one that I did does have the flowers. And then I held that Nutiden with some old mill yarn, and it's like that alpaca. I've used it before. And another sweater. It's like an alpaca merino dark brown, which has some really neat depth of color. So I apologize that I keep clearing my throat, but that drainage is very frustrating, and it might get in my way while I'm trying to talk to you guys otherwise. So we'll see. I'm going to try really hard to just keep drinking the beverage, and hopefully that will help. What are you guys up to? What are you making? What are you working on? I'd love to hear what your creative endeavors are. I did cast on a new project, and I primarily shop-oriented, have been working on picking wool. I actually put a call out, and my mom's stepping in to help. I really appreciate to help pick wool so that I can get more bats made for the upcoming festival, Michigan Fiber Festival, which is not until August, but I get a lot of work to do. So she's going to be helping me, which I really appreciate. And yeah, so that's what I've been working on when it comes to the wool. Every day after work, I've been picking wool. And then I do that for about an hour. And as I mentioned, we have a new dog. So he's a puppy, and so I've been working with him quite a bit too. So that's kind of, yeah, just a lot of work. And we have the sheep and our critters, just lots of fun stuff. And I'm exhausted as I'm trying to still get over this yuck that's going on. So let's get into the project, shall we? I don't have any finished objects, but I do have another my work in progress that has been ongoing. My beautiful shawl here. Let's see if I can get this untangled here for a second. Whoops. This is the Jaunty shawl. Design is by Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits. I am mid-row, so sorry about that. But you can see I'm past my midway point. This is my midway point right here. Oh gosh, I'm going to lose my voice. Excuse me. Yes, I love it. Being sick. Anyway, here's the midway point. This is A Hint of the Holidays by Lara the Llama. I absolutely love her beautiful hand-dyed yarn and her hand-dyed roving. That's what that is, hand-dyed roving. It's a yak blend that she has in her shop. I think she still carries it. There were a few blends that she was discontinuing, but I think she still has that one. Highly recommend it. Oh my gosh, was that a pleasure to spin. I did that for, I think I spun this up during, oh my gosh, what is it called? It's not the Tour de Fleece, but it's the Melly Knits does one during December, and I'm trying to remember what it's called. Oh well, it's escaping me because my brain is like mush. But anyway, Still, again, that was another side effect of being sick. Brain mush. Anyway, I'm also using my Multifarious Nature Advent from this year, 2025 hand spinning Advent. I've got my Icelandic, beautiful cream color, Shetland, and Tunis, super soft and fluffy. If you've never worked with Tunis, you should try it. And I still have one in the shop if you'd like to try it. Definitely keep an eye on the shop as well. But again, any of the bats that I create at the moment, moving forward, for the moment until the festival, Michigan Fiber Festival, those will all be for that. So I probably won't be putting anything alive additionally into the shop until after Michigan Fiber Festival when it comes to the wool bats, just because I really need to have inventory for the show. It's a very big show. If you've never been to Michigan Fiber Festival, you live near Allegan, Michigan at all, or within a driving distance that's reasonable, or you can afford to pay to stay somewhere overnight, highly recommend Michigan Fiber Festival. It is so much fun. The festival itself is so much fun. The vendors are amazing. The people are amazing. The animals are wonderful. There's also Old Mill Yarn, which is just down the road. It's in Allegan, Michigan. Highly recommend stopping there if you like to get coned yarn, so large amounts of wool. They do tend to lean towards rug wool. So if you like to make rugs, that would be an amazing spot for you to go. If you're a weaver, you must go to Baker Studio. Baker Studio is the same. It's not the same company, but they're owned by the same people. So Old Mill Yarn is in the old, I think it's an old mill warehouse across the street. Like literally, you just walk across the parking lot, and that's where you get it. And if you're going to purchase it, I think using a credit card, you have to go into Baker Studio anyway, which is not a bad thing. They have spinning wheels in there. That's where I bought mine. I have a ladybug, a shock ladybug. They have, and she's really more than willing to let you use the models that are there to test them, which is really fun to see if you like it. They also have hand spun yarn for sale. They have hand woven items for sale. It's a really cool place. Definitely recommend it. And that's in an old restored building as well, which is really cool. Creaky floors and all. I love it. So definitely recommend that. You'll hear me say Old Mill Yarn quite a bit. Like I said, I use it with multiple things. Sometimes I hold the yarn double if it's lace weight, or hold it single. I've made multiple things out of Old Mill Yarn, and I definitely recommend it. Okay, that's my jaunty. My jaunty spin along. It's all hand spun, and I am knitting along, spinning it. I need to take photos of my progress so I can post it on the jaunty along. I think it's in June is the deadline for it, and as long as you finish, it doesn't have to be hand spun, but once you finish knitting your jaunty, you have to take photos of it, post it on there, and then you get entered to win prizes. So it's really fun. If you haven't participated before, you should try it. I have done a spin along before with Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits, and it's a really fun experience. Everybody's really supportive, and I love it. Okay, the other thing I just worked on a bit. I can only work on it so long because they are much larger needles. These are size 8 needles, and I've found, yes, my hands like working with the smaller needles. So the other project I've been working on is my Flutter Buttshirt. It is by Jessie Made Designs. It's a really cute, ruffly, flowy top. It calls, excuse me, falling and bashing and banging. It calls for fingering weight, and what I'm using is a colorway that I dyed up a little while back. I only had 2 skeins of it dyed up. Our dog Chester, I think, or somebody is trying to come through the door. I want to say it was a one-of-a-kind colorway, and I was just using remnants of some dye, and then I added some speckling. It's really fun. It looks like an English garden is what I think of when I look at it. I would love to replicate this colorway. It's very beautiful, and that's what it reminds me of, an English garden. So I'm going to show you guys what I've done so far. It's bottom up. So here's these gigantic 8-inch needles, or not 8-inch, size 8. Is it 10 millimeter? 5 millimeter. 10 millimeter. 5 millimeter. But as you're knitting, it's just stockinette at the moment. It's paid for pattern, so I don't want to give it away. But as you knit, it starts rolling a little bit. But it's going to be really flowy. And this is the bottom portion, that like bottom ruffle, before you start working into the main part of the body. And it's going to be very light and flowy. You can see this because, like I said, it is lace weight, technically, but because it's a 2-ply, and it's silk and merino, it really is fluffs up. When I blocked it, the sample, the swatch, I blocked it and it really fills up. So even though it's considered lace weight, it has the volume of fingering, if that makes sense. And so it really will work out in the end. And I just love the color so much. Like I said, there's lots of fun speckles. There's some greens in there. We've got, of course, some reds and pinks and salmony color and dark, like, aubergine. I just love it. So I am going to wear this at Michigan Pirate Festival is the goal. So that's why I need to get that worked up. But it should be nice and flowy, and because it has the silk in there with the merino, it should be quite comfortable, hopefully. No alpaca this time. Oh my gosh, you guys. I have made short sleeve tops that have alpaca in them, and I don't know what I was thinking, because they look cute and they feel nice in, like, when it's warm out, or I mean cool out, but when it gets hot, that alpaca like really makes you hot. So don't recommend that if you can help it. And if you do come to Michigan Fire Festival, I will warn you in advance. The weather tends to be really hot that weekend. I don't know why, but every year we've gone, which has been probably the last 4 or 5 years, it has been in the 90s degree Fahrenheit. So keep that in mind if you do come from out of state or something. Definitely bring layers and lean towards the like warmer weather wear. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, but I looked at this, like looking at the image as well in the photo. You probably can't see it very well. If you go on Ravelry or Jessie Made Designs website, you'll be able to see it better, but you can tell the fabric is pretty translucent. Like you kind of see through it a little bit. So I think it really is going to work up nicely, even though I'm using lace instead of fingering weight. So fingering weight, usually you've got around 460 yards per skein per 100 grams. This is like 800 yards because it's lace weight. So just bear that kind of stuff in mind. So I have plenty of yardage. It should be fine. I will probably make it a little bit longer than the pattern calls for, just because I'm not a big cropped shirt person. It's one thing if I'm doing things around the home, but if I'm like going out and doing stuff, I like my shirts to fit, like hit at my hip and go down a little further if possible. So I think I'll do my first thought is I'm going to do the ruffle as the pattern calls for, because the ruffle on the sleeves is the same distance. So I want that to look cohesive. So I think what I'm going to do is do the ruffle the size it calls for, and then I will just knit. There's a portion before you break for the sleeves, and I'm just going to knit that longer. That seems to make sense to me. That I think will be perfectly fine, and that should work out well. All right, that's it for my works in progress. I did not even do my timer. I had brought my phone in, and I had every intention of putting my timer on so I would know my time, but I don't think I'm going to go too long because my lung capacity still is awful. I just have awful lung capacity, which is why I probably sound like I'm gasping for air because it feels that way. It really does. I am just surrounded by wool right now. I still have more of the fleece that I've been working on every day the past 2 weeks. And it's taking me forever. But it's a really nice fleece, though. It's fun. It's really cool. It's a North Country Cheviot. I showed it to you in a, excuse me, a past video. If you go back a few, it's really beautiful. I think I have the sample here. I did, maybe I don't. I spun a sample of it to see what it looked like. Ah, here it is. It's North Country Cheviot, and I think I blended it with alpaca. A little bit of alpaca. I think I did like a 20%. It's really beautiful. So this is what it's spun up as. Really pretty, kind of a milk chocolatey color. It's a rose gray alpaca that's in there. So really pretty. It's a Surrey alpaca. So I want to get that all figured out, because that will be something I will be bringing to Michigan Fiber Festival. So keep that in the forefront of your mind if you're going and you're interested. That will be some of the wool I'll be bringing. It's really crisp, not crisp as in crunchy, but crisp as in like woolly goodness. And it feels like it will be very durable, much like Icelandic wool. Icelandic wool is incredibly durable, but this doesn't have the guard hairs that Icelandic wool has. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to make beautiful sweater yarn. You can make some really nice socks with this as well, but really excited to do something with that. And as I mentioned, I'll be bringing those with me. So I can't tell you how many bats I will have, but I'm pretty certain there will be quite a few. I just have tons of, hope they don't make too much noise, tons of these bags filled with this wool right now. Because it is a multicolor fleece, what I'm going to do, since someone might want multiple bats and I want them to be semi-similar, I'm going to take, once I pick all of this, I'll have to make sure that our Chester is not out. He'll be in his cage or outside or something. I will dump all the wool together and like mix it, and then take like weigh out a little over 100 grams for that, and make bats. So that way they're similar. They're always going to be a little different because, again, it's a multicolored fleece, and to truly have that same amount of color divided up is going to be really hard to manage, but try to do my best to get a good blend that's kind of similar. If anything, close enough that you could like every other skate, like every other row knit something and it would look semi-cohesive, if that makes sense. I hope it does. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like life update end of things. We did treat our little midge, our fly midge. She has, I think, some parasite overload, so we did treat her for that, and she's definitely seems to be doing much better, which is so great. That's the one thing I highly recommend if you get into any type of animal husbandry, so like sheep or anything, especially sheep. Definitely have a mentor. I'm incredibly grateful that our breeder is someone I can reach out to when I have questions, and she's been so wonderful to let us know like what like tips and tricks of what we should do, depending on what's going on. So very appreciated. And for the most part, I've really only had to reach out to her like a handful of times in the 2 years we've had sheep. So that's not too bad in my opinion. I think that's pretty good. Coming up soon-ish, we're going to have to vaccinate them because we haven't done that yet. And then trim their hooves. Some sheep you only have to do it once a year, but ours, because we have very soft soil and it's not super rocky, we have to do it at least twice a year because their hooves just keep growing and they're doing so well. Like, we're apparently feeding them well, so their little hoof is growing nicely. So that's important for their, you don't want them to go lame and have issues like that. So making sure that we stay on top of that is important. You just want to do it when it's not raining because that's a safety issue. And then also we have to shear them again. Obviously it is March, and we usually shear them, I want to say the end of April or even into May, because you really have to watch your temperatures. They are outside, like they have a little shelter, but they are not in a heated barn. You know, they're primarily outside, so they really need to have their wool on them for as long as they need. Like in this cooler weather, Michigan is a interesting beast when it comes to weather. It's kind of all over the place, and I really truly mean that, because one of my coworkers, he put it quite well. He told me, because he was talking to someone else, and he goes, yeah, it's like, he's from Las Vegas, Nevada, and he said, he's like, yeah, it was so hard to pack, because he said the first day he landed, it was like 70 degrees almost here in Michigan. And then today it's back in the low 30s, and this weekend it will be in the 20s again. So it's like we're all over the place. It's really hard. You're dressing for almost basically summer, and then it's winter again. So we definitely have to keep an eye on it. But once the temperatures start to regulate and get more normal and get closer to being in the 50s consistently, then or higher, that would be a good time for us to shear. We also don't want it to get too warm, for I would say the obvious reasons, but two of our sheep in particular, so we have 5 sheep. 3 of them are lighter colors, and 2 of them are darker colors. The darker colors, we have a Morit, so she's brown, and then a black, and she's a black fleece. And if it gets too warm out, she will overheat in the process of us shearing her, because she will get upset. Like, she starts to get rambunctious. She's not happy about it. And that's not good for anybody. It's not good for us. It's definitely not good for her. So we just have to be mindful of that. So that kind of stuff makes me a little anxious when that gets closer, because I want to be so mindful of doing right by the animals, like doing this in a fashion that they're not stressed highly. And we also obviously have to watch the weather and all those kind of things. There's just so many variables. And we do it ourselves. So I blade shear them with the help of my husband, and so appreciate it. He has taken a lot more on than I think he ever intended. He's done shearing, and he's done a great job. And like, he'll do half the sheep, I'll do half the sheep. Little Midge, so Fly Midge, she's the one who's black. Last year, we did it on a day that was pretty darn hot. That was such a bad idea. I just had no idea. And she was definitely overheating. So that we do not want to repeat. That's very stressful on her. But I pretty much had to shear her all myself, because my husband had to hold her down, because she was she was like a bucking bronco. She was crazy. I don't know. She was scared. That's what it was. You know, she's scared. She never had been shorn before. And I was bringing these blades towards her, and she's like, what are you doing? You know, all was fine, and she's great, but I think she's still a little leery of that. So we'll see how it goes this time. Our first 3 girls, they did great their second shearing. The first time they were scared, rightfully so. The second time they were good. They didn't seem to mind, because they knew what was going on. They're like, oh, they're just going to take off this heavy wool, and I'll be all happy and feel really good. So I hope that will go this way, but I feel like she might still be on edge about it, just because of how she deals with everything when we try to, like when I had to treat her this recently, she was not exactly pleased about it. So, yes, such is life with animals. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're staying healthy. I hope you don't get this ick. It's been rough. As I said, just trying to do all these things and get things done. It's, oh my gosh, hilarious. So we have two dogs. One is Chester, he's the baby, the nutball. And then Maverick is our adult dog, and he's about 9. And when Chester gets the zoomies, so if you haven't ever had a puppy before, like a young puppy. You probably never experienced it. This is my first time experiencing it in person because my first dog was Rory, and she I got her at 7 months, so she never had the zoomies. Like, she would get excited and run around, but she never quite had the zoomies. And he will run like a little banshee, and I mean, he will run into things because he's just losing his marbles. But when he does that, our dog Maverick will just bark at him as he runs past him. And so that's probably what you guys could hear in the background. If you did, I'm pretty sure that Chester had the zoomies a few minutes ago. So. Oh my goodness, very entertaining. Anyway, oh, here's the skein of this like English rose garden, or not rose garden, but English garden type colorway. That is, like I said, one of a kind. I only dyed up 2 of them. This is also on the lace weight. But like I said, I would really like to try to replicate this in some way. It won't be exact because I used remnant, like leftover dye that was combined to create this, so it was just totally random. But I would really like to replicate this a bit because I think it's really beautiful. That's one of my favorite ways of creating new colorways, though, is playing with the color and seeing what happens. And the hard part is if you don't record it, it's really hard to replicate. So there we are. But yeah, definitely in comments below, please talk about any projects that you're up to. I'd love to hear about it. If you're getting into the wool, I know a few of you have shared that you're looking into scouring your first fleece or scouring some wool, things of that nature. That is awesome. And I'd love to hear from you guys when you do that, because I always love to hear what everybody's up to. And especially when it comes to that, I really love it. I've been starting to just like look into fleeces, but I don't know how many fleeces I'm going to be buying this year because I have a lot. And even though I need a lot for inventory, I do need to watch how much I have because who knows with everything. So with adoption end of things, again, this kind of life update. If you've been with us and all that, you know that we've been waiting for a while, and we are definitely moving closer to some of the longer waiting families at our agency. So that means hopefully we're going to be shown more often to birth mothers, or I should say expectant mothers. And yeah, so who knows when that could happen. And then we'd be matched and be bringing a baby home, which is like mind-blowing, and it's kind of hard to fathom. And that being said, this wonderful wool room that I'm currently in will become a baby's room. So all of this will have to go into my wool shed. And at the moment, that would not work out so well because there is so much wool in there. I really need to figure out a better storage system for the wool, because at the moment it's just all over the floor. They're in bags, but they're just stacked everywhere. It's crazy. It really is. So I really need some type of shelving system, something so that I can get them like against the wall, up to the ceiling, something. Because very quickly I will run out of space in there, and this all has to go in there. So that will be interesting. But it's hard. I mean, it's one of those things that I'd love to have like a nursery set up and ready and all of that. But what you'll know also, if you've been with us for a while, we have gone through a great deal of loss, and having a nursery set up would be brutal as we're waiting, like just waiting and staring at that every day. Like, I just don't think I could do that. But the good news is I am not looking in here anyway at the moment, because Chester's not allowed in here because he will eat everything. He's a little land shark right now. As I mentioned, he's about 4 months old, and he will chew on everything and anything. And I've tried like picking wool, and he'll come at it and try to chew it. And I'm like, no, the wool I'm discarding, he will like pick it up and try to run off with it. And that's a whole thing. So yeah, he's not really allowed in here. He has to earn. You have to graduate to come to the wool room. This is not something that little baby puppies can come into. Oh goodness. But yeah, I hope you guys are well. Yeah, do comment below. Let me know what you're working on, what you're up to, and how you're doing. And yeah, I hope you're doing well. And I look forward to chatting with you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Take care. Bye.